Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Teresa Parker Art. And today we are going to have our midweek masterpiece. And it's going to be this painting. You're going to learn how to actually paint with a weed or a tree. I'm sure you've seen it. It's gone viral everywhere. Some little guy started it and everybody wanted to do it. So I did this one right here. I painted this one with acrylic paint. And I went outside and we have these really nasty, gross, invasive weeds that we can't get rid of. So why not use them to paint with? If I can't beat them, I'll join them, right? So what I did was I picked off some of the tops and I went ahead and put them under something heavy so they'd be flat because they really are fluffy. And that way when we use them later to put them on here, they'll hit the board really nice. You can use dead limbs, you can use tree limbs, little pieces of bushes, whatever you'd like to use. Everything works great. And today we're going to use the colors. Well, we're going to use some craft paints today. We're going to use purple iris and pumpkin. It is almost Thanksgiving. And we're going to use, I have some bright yellow, and this is actually through Delta. It's called Cream Coat. And I think I got that from Hobby Lobby. And I've also got a Master's Touch. It's magenta. And that's a nice red color. And let's see what else. And black and white. White for the moon and black for the trees. And you can make this any color you want. You can go bright, pink, yellow, orange, blue. You can make it nighttime, daytime, whatever you want. And it's just super easy and it's really fast. So let's get started. Okay. So today you can use your 1-inch brush or whatever brush you're comfortable with doing for your background, or a mop brush, which blends really well. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the mop brush just to kind of show you how this works. And we're going to start with the darkest color, which is purple. We'll start that at the top. I'm just going to dip my brush in, get lots of paint on there, and we're just going to start covering it. Now my canvas is actually already gray because it was a used canvas and I wasn't happy with the painting that was on there, which does happen. And I just painted over it. Instead of having to buy new canvases, we'll just reuse this one and it works out really well. So if you ever just really don't like a painting and you don't want to waste that canvas, you can just paint over it gray, white. White's probably not the best you can, but it's better if you use gray and then go over that with white because gray covers almost everything. So I'm going to come about a third of the way down with the purple. And with my dirty brush, I'm just going to dip it into the red, into the magenta. And it's kind of getting dry, so as always, we might have to add a little water to it. This brush kind of soaks it up a little bit. But see how smooth that's going on? It's just going on really nice and fluffy. Let me get a little water. And the cats, of course, have been drinking my paint water, so it's almost gone. I need to refill that. And it's always clean. I always make sure it's clean for them. I went back into the purple just to kind of make it a little darker on top and blend it smoother into that red. And do the red down, I guess about halfway. I do like the red color. And see how I brought that up into the purple. And I'm just going back and forth with this nice even stroke. And let's see, let's use the orange. You could just go ahead and use yellow because it will definitely blend with the red and make orange. But I wanted it a little more pumpkin color today. So we're going to use the pumpkin. And we'll just bring that up a little into the red. See how I'm carrying it up into the red as well. And just back and forth strokes and the red will come back down. That's fine. It's nice and a little damp there so it blends real well. And let's get some yellow for the very bottom. And you can make this any color you want. You can make it one color. You can put mountains in there. You can put an ocean in there. However you want your background. This is really just for the background for, using my weeds to paint with. Now I did drag a little bit of the orange down into the yellow, which is great. See, it's blending back up, making the orange a little bit lighter. I'm painting myself as always. And I also do the outside edges. I really think that does a lot for the paintings when you paint the outside edges, especially if you're not going to frame it. kind of carries it around. Now I'm doing a really light touch across the top there, and then back down into the yellow. I think I kind of like that. I'm trying to decide if we need more purple. So let's let this dry. Before we start slapping any black paint on there, we're going to go ahead and let this dry. And there is a quick and easy sunset or sunrise, whichever one you want it to be. And we will be back shortly as soon as it dries, and we'll show you how to paint with the weeds. Okay, so for part 2, what I'm going to use is the Mars Black. And this is actually just from Walmart, craft paint. And I'm going to use some matte fluid medium. Now you can use like the pour medium for pouring paint. You can use, I also have, this is called floating medium. It's for like one stroke painting that loosens up the paint real good, dries a little slower. And you can also use water, but you want to be really careful with the water, because if you put too much in there and you slap your weed onto the canvas, that water is just going to make that paint drip all the way down, which might actually not look too bad. So that's totally up to you, how you want to go ahead and thin your paints. But it does need to be pretty thin. I'll show you. It does not take much paint, by the way. This canvas is a 12 by 16. And I maybe used a quarter size of paint of each color. And so I did put too much black out, but we're gonna put a little pouring medium on here. Now my pouring medium is white, but it will dry clear. So see, it's runny. I'm just gonna take a little black and we're gonna make it really super thin here. I'm trying anyway. And a little more black. And I'm just going to spread it all over my plate, because I'm going to end up putting that weed into this plate. Now there's many ways to do it. I've seen people, different artists, oh, made a mess, not unusual. I've seen other artists put out cardboard and use a paint roller, and they've rolled it onto the plant. I just kind of thought, well, this just should work just as easy, and I think it does. So I'm just making it darker, and it's just really wet so that it'll go on. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up my whole plate here with a little black and my matte medium here. Get it a little damp, because I want it to come off of the weed. And I just got black dots all over my other painting. Okay, boy, I'm a mess. Ask my husband. I think I wear more paint than I paint with on the canvas. Okay. So now that's just in the plate. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take one of the weeds that I like, and I like this one. It's a little bit more full. You can't really tell. I'm going to put it in the plate, and I'm going to cover this with paint. I'm going to cover the whole weed with the black soft paint, wet paint. And that way, I'm covering all the little pieces on there, all the little fluffy things, the sticks, everything. So let me put it down here real quick and get this paint on here. Okay. It's getting there. You can use, just have one little brush I use to blend up the paint, mix up the paint with. So you can use a big brush and it goes a lot quicker, and you just dab it on there. I'm just making sure it's on both sides, because I might use both sides. And we're going to get it down here on the stem a little more. It's kind of hard to do so you can see it. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's a little awkward. So I think I've got plenty of paint on there. So now what we're going to do is take it to the canvas, and there's my canvas. And all I'm going to do is make sure you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to take it, and I'm literally going to slap it on there. See that? And there it is. And there is my tree. Well, the beginning of my tree. So what happens now, and this is where people didn't quite understand what was happening with the ones online, is you do have to touch it up. So I'm going to get a little tiny, can you see that? A little tiny detail brush, super tiny. And I'm going to use the paint that's on here, and I'm going to make some stems and, not stems, but some limbs on here. So it looks more like, I got a little bit of my plant on there too. You'll have to pick that out as we go. And just kind of put some little lines in here to make it look more like a tree. So see how, and this already has the lines in here from the weed, which worked out really nice. Not all of them do that. And just put some little thin lines in here. We can leave those out there. That looks really good out there by itself. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I like the little pieces sticking up here and here. That actually turned out really nice there. We'll pull this down just a little bit more into here and give this maybe some little pieces coming up out of here. I'm barely touching the canvas and using the paint that's already on here. We'll make this one and maybe out like this. And maybe we'll bring this one down here a little bit like this. And you can just put your lines anywhere you like. There are no two that are gonna look alike. Because none of the, even slapping the weeds on here, if I did another one with the same weed, it would look totally different. Go this way. Let's see, where else should we add some little lines? Maybe up in here. So just so it looks a little bit more tree-like. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. So you can tell the paint was really wet, and it's actually, it went on here really thick in a couple of spots. And if it drips, I'm going to let it drip. I think it would kind of look cool. My other one didn't drip, but I think it would kind of give it a little bit of personality. And I'm going to put this one up like that. Isn't it kind of coming up from down below? We might want to darken these up a little bit later. We'll see what happens when it dries, because as you know, when the acrylic paint dries, it does get darker and kind of loses a lot of its shine. So it will look a little better when it dries, at least on here. Okay, now I'm gonna put one little piece off of there so you can touch this up until the cows come home. You'll never get done. So I'm gonna leave it for now. Now I'm gonna use a little, I'm just gonna use a round brush like this. And it's got a pretty good tip on it. We're gonna go ahead and use the white paint. And let me find it. Yes, put the white, oops, gotta get rid of my weeds here. I'm getting ready to make a real big mess. And, okay. Now let's just some plain white paint, and I'm gonna dip this round brush in there, get on there, and I'm gonna decide where to put my moon, because I want a moon. And I like the full moon. You don't have to put moons, you can put a quarter moon, whatever you want to put on there works great. I'm gonna put maybe up into the purple, maybe about right here. It's not gonna be too big, it's kind of far away. But I'll get the first coat of white on here. Now you're gonna see everything through it, which is fine for now. We'll go back over that. I'm gonna leave it kind of like that, a little texture. And I think what I'm gonna do is take a small brush and maybe even just the wood tip end, the round tip. And let's dip that into a little white paint and let's give it a few stars. Because I think that would be kind of cool. Of course, they're gonna be brighter up in the dark area because it is darker and you can see the stars much better. We'll put these little bitty ones like they're far away. And we'll put some bigger, brighter ones over here. And some little ones down here. And as I get lower into this area that's a little bit more bright, I'm going to use the color of the paint that was in the background. So let's use a little red right here. And we'll dip the white into the red. And it will be kind of a pinky, but not too bad. And we'll just make a little darker here. And use a little bit more red. Might actually want to use a little purple on there. And that way they're actually in there. And this will dry darker. And it'll look really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of purple because I was probably more in the purple than the red. Yeah. So we'll do a little light purplish red, which is great. And a little more purple here. And it's just going to look like, we'll kind of look like purple stars, and then we'll go back over it. And those are just kind of hidden in the sky, because as it goes lower, of course, you can't really see the stars. And I'm going to put maybe a couple back in here, a couple of little ones, just for something different, because I really wanted it to be different today. Some little stars, little tiny dots for the background there. And this had red on my brush, so it's kind of already picking up a little bit of the red, which is good. And then the purple and the red over here. And we might change those to white. We'll see when it dries. It should dry pretty dark, and they actually look really neat. And I did pick up some red over here, which looks good. I don't know how you can see it because it's pretty small. So we'll do some little, very light stars this way. Yeah, I think that's going to look really good. And just kind of wherever you feel like putting stars. And I think that looks good. So we're going to leave that for now. We're going to let the moon dry completely. And then we will come back and give the moon another coat, because it really needs to dry. And I'm going to watch and see if this drips at all. If it does, we're going to run with it, because I think it would actually kind of look pretty cool. And make sure we don't need to put any more lines in. As I'm looking at it, I think it kind of looks good how it is. So we will see what happens when the moon dries. Back in 5 minutes. Okay, so now the white is pretty well dry on the moon. So I'm just going to go in and kind of fill it in a little bit so it's a little more solid. And at this point you can add gray and put, you know, a little gray in it, or blue, however you'd like it. You can put a glow around it. And I'm just going to leave it kind of plain and round. I kind of like it like that. And it's kind of a funky shape. And you can also use the little sponge brushes that have the little circle on the end to make a really nice circle, however you'd like it. But I'm going to leave it like that. You can put clouds in the sky if you want. But I want a really nice clear night. And I think that actually looks pretty nice. I think I'm going to leave that there and see what happens when the purple and red dries. See, they're kind of going really back into the background, which is nice. Kind of look like little stars, you know, in the clouds. And I think we're going to leave it like that. I like it like that. So here is the final painting. It does not take long. It is very easy. Just go with it and have fun and throw the paint on there and see what happens. Anyone can paint. This can be any color. Do it any way you want to. Please post a picture of it. I would love to see how you did it and let us know what kind of plant you used. I think I'd like to use maybe some holly and maybe some ivy and try those. I think it'd be kind of cool. Maybe even a desert scene out of some of it. But we will try that again later. But happy midweek masterpiece. Please post your masterpiece. Let me know how you did it and if you liked it. And thank you for joining me. It was just the Marines' birthday, so happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps. And happy Veterans Day. It just passed as well. So happy Veterans Day, and thank you to everyone who has ever served or will serve. We couldn't be here without you. Thank y'all. Have a great day. Bye.